Hi, I'm Annie. Today I want to talk about flexibility and reliability. I have a lot of really exciting video topics I want to explore, and instead of exploring any of those, today I'm going to talk about the massive tidal wave that I just had this week. Fun stuff. So when like your dog dies or someone breaks up with you and it literally makes you sick, like maybe you feel kind of like you have a hungover sort of headache for a few days and you can't concentrate on anything, not even a really lightweight sort of mindless sitcom. Just zero focus, zero concentration, just kind of incapacitated by disappointment, grief, upset, whatever. That is how I felt this week. So the thing that upset me that much was pretty common. It was just getting stood up by someone. In the objective personality community, we're all familiar that, different people are triggered by different things. And so I know there are some people out there that are thinking like, you got stood up? Like, really? That is what upset you? Like, that is what derailed your whole week just because someone stood you up? Like, it's so common. It's so normal. People stand people up all the time. You got to get over it. Yeah, I hear that, and other people out there are upset by things that it's hard for me to relate to. I have this kind of PTSD about getting stood up after 15 years in massage therapy of people just not taking my profession seriously, not respecting my boundaries, not respecting scheduling boundaries, just not respecting my time. It's happened so many times that now when it happens, it's just so triggering to me. It's just very, very painful when I stop what I'm doing and get ready to show up and bring my best energy to someone else to help them, and then they just don't show up. This wasn't actually a client that flaked on me. If it were a client, I would have their credit card number, and that might make me feel a little bit better, although it really doesn't because I hate enforcing that. It still makes me mad when people just don't show up. And that doesn't happen as often. Ever since I started taking people's credit card numbers, it's amazing how they just started showing up. So all the time before when I wasn't taking the credit card numbers and people were not showing up and they were really nonchalant about it, like, oh, well, these things just happen. It's like, yeah, funny how these things don't just fucking happen when I have your credit card number. So that kind of shows me that this whole time you were actually in control of being responsible for your appointments, being responsible for showing up and respecting my time. The whole time you were capable of that. The only reason you're doing it now because I am enforcing this by holding your credit card number. I've actually never charged someone's credit card. When people finally do forget, it usually truly is an emergency, and I'm forgiving. I am a flexible, reasonable person. And also it just doesn't feel good to me to charge. It's like, oh, seriously, I don't want to charge you for this. I don't want to have to do this. What I want is for you to be organized and on top of your appointments and show up. This was not a situation where it was a client. There was no money being exchanged. It was just a person that I was relying on to show up. She's relying on me to show up, and it's just not working. So I would say that I am reliable and flexible. For reliability, I give myself a 99%. And here's where I derive that number. In 15 years, I've canceled massage appointments 4 times. One time I had a high fever and I kept fainting, and I was still going to go to work, but my partner was like, no, you're not going to work. You need to call your client right now and cancel. We're going to urgent care because I just kept passing out. I wasn't thinking clearly because of the fever. And so he had to take charge and make my decisions for me. So obviously that is a true emergency. Another time, my tire blew out on the way to appointment. Pretty much out of my control. It was nothing that I did wrong. It's just these things happen. Another time, really early in my career, I didn't write down an appointment and I forgot. And I felt so terrible about it. Like I chastised myself and vowed to never ever allow that to happen again because it's not okay. Like you have to have protocols in place so that you can show up for people and honor their time. I chastised myself, vowed to never do it again, and it never happened again. Another time, and this I'm not proud of, but there was a client who was not respecting my boundaries and it just felt really icky. I had a whole lot of resentment. And that morning when I woke up, it was the day of the appointment, I just couldn't do it. I had a lot of resentment and, I'm a double decider. So a lot of times I don't agree with my clients or particularly even like them, but I still love them, if that makes sense. I care about them. I want them to have a good experience. But sometimes if the resentment gets so bad, it is difficult to be nurturing. Like imagine you have like a naked person on your massage table and you need to be nurturing and, caring And it's like a physical thing. It's like I need to touch them with care and nurturing. And when you have a lot of resentment for someone, that's actually kind of difficult to do. You know, everybody has their limits. And that morning I was just feeling like I couldn't. There was just too much resentment. So I canceled and I went running in the mountains. I wasn't even honest with the guy. I just lied and said, yeah, I'm sick. I'm coming down with a cold. And then I just left and went running in the mountains. And, you know, that's not the right thing to do. The right thing is to just be direct and say, hey, there's a problem here. I'm feeling too resentful to work with you right now. And that's an uncomfortable conversation. I'm not particularly good at uncomfortable conversations or directness. I've talked about this before. I think it's like having feminine TE blast third. It's just difficult for me sometimes to be direct. So those are the 4 times in 15 years that I canceled an appointment. The number 99% reliable, it's like kind of, you know, I'm not good at math, and obviously that's not a real number, but that's just the score that I give myself. The score that I give myself for flexibility is lower. So I am reliable and flexible, but I am more reliable than I am flexible. And this is just a made up number again, but I give myself a 77% for flexibility. I'm somewhat flexible, but then it runs out. It's not an infinite amount of flexibility. I'm patient, forgiving, flexible a few times, and then I'm just not anymore. It's used up, it's gone. You're not going to get any more out of me. So here's the situation. I'm doing this coaching assignment in a coaching program. I coach my peer client 12 times, and then a different peer coaches me 12 times. And then there's also group coaching meetings and like meetings with mentor coaches. It's like a lot of meetings. It's very difficult to, you know, schedule all this stuff and make time for this. There's no money being exchanged at all. It's just time and showing up for each other so that one person has the opportunity to practice coaching skills and the other one has the opportunity to feel what it's like to be coached. I've coached my peer 4 times and we are on track to complete all of these sessions by mid-October. And at that point, there's a whole nother round. Like there's going to be a whole nother, 56 things to schedule in the next phase of the training program. So it's kind of important to stay on track with these and get finished by mid-October, because if you're not done, all of the other work is also going to pile on. And then we all have our regular lives. I'm a massage therapist. I have to accommodate my massage therapy clients. And I also have paid coaching clients on my own. I need to accommodate them within my schedule. I coached my person 4 times. Amazing experience. It's great. I love the process. It's been really good. The person that was supposed to coach me, there's just been like a whole bunch of scheduling fuckery, and I've been patient and flexible until I got stood up the final time and then ran out. No more flexibility or patience. There's like a lag in communication and unresponsiveness on her part. I was forgiving and flexible. There is, some scheduling rearranging. I was forgiving and flexible because, we're all busy and scheduling is difficult. It's totally understandable to sometimes move things around. When we were finally going to meet the first time, she canceled a little over an hour before the appointment was supposed to start. And I was disappointed. These things happen, stuff comes up. So then this week, finally, we were really going to meet. And I changed my morning routine, stopped what I was doing, got ready, really excited to support her in her coaching experience, to give her, the space and the practice to do her thing. Also really excited to work on my issues and, experience getting some coaching. And I'm just sitting here staring at the screen, the only person in this Zoom meeting, and she's just not there. And so I send her a link. Oh, by the way, do you need a copy of the link? Here's that link again. I'll see you soon. And then no, 5 minutes after the meeting began, that's when she decided to tell me that she couldn't make it. I was just disappointed. I was like I guess I was looking forward to it. I was kind of heartbroken. Also heartbroken because this is my biggest issue. I want to work on this issue in coaching to finally come to a place where I can stick up for myself and be direct and say, hey, it is not okay to violate my scheduling boundaries. So I want to have a conversation about what are we going to do if you need to cancel? How are we going to handle it specifically? Outline all that before you begin the relationship with someone. I didn't even get a chance to do that with this girl because I've never even met her. It's all just like email and flaking and appointments that never happen. I want to work on that and get get to a point where I can do that. For this initial meeting that I was going to have for her, I didn't want to start with my most difficult issue. It's really triggering for me when people stand me up. I wanted to start with a really easy issue so that like it's comfortable for her, and we could just do this first session with the back and forth and easy issue and good experience for everyone. In coaching, it's the client's choice to choose what you focus on for the session. And I wanted to focus on an easy thing, which is just developing a wellness and fitness routine for myself as I am going through this program and managing, just a much busier life, a lot of coaching appointments. It's, just like a lot to manage time-wise. So I wanted to work with the coach on outlining a plan. But instead of being allowed to set the agenda for that, I was thrown into the deep end and forced to deal with my most triggering issue, which is feeling like people don't respect my time. So I'm forced to deal with that because of the situation, and there is no coach on the other end to support me through that process. It's just a big like, fuck you, here's your biggest issue, deal with it by yourself. And I was just really disappointed because I've been showing up for other people a lot lately. I'm, reliable, diligent, on time, focused, organized. That's just my personality. I understand that not everyone's like that. But when I am bringing that over and over again, and then a colleague or a client just can't reciprocate that, it honestly hurts my feelings. And I guess it shouldn't, because we're like not supposed to take things personally, or like you can take things personally, but it's not a good life strategy because you're going to be disappointed and hurt all the time if you take everything personally. And, being a double decider, like it's not really her that I'm angry at. I mean, like it kind of is, but it's just sort of the accumulation. It's like sort of the faceless, nameless masses of people who have done this to me over and over again throughout the years. It's more like the situation being stood up that I hate. And I hate that it makes me feel angry because then I feel like a bad person. It just seems like people judge anger as being a moral failing. I don't agree with that. It's not a moral failing to be angry. Like anger is within the normal range of human emotions. And I will not apologize for being angry about something that's infuriating. Like I can measure the way that I respond and keep impulsivity in check when I'm angry, which is, what I did. There were no harsh words exchanged. But I can't just like wave a magic wand and not be angry. And it kind of annoys me that like if someone is sad or anxious, we're like, oh, take care of her, make her feel safe. She is sad, she is anxious. Let's help her work through this. But if someone is angry, it's like, oh, she's toxic. No, that is absolutely not true. I just want to say right now, if you are angry or if you have ever been angry, that is okay. It's not okay to call someone a cunt or spit in their face, but it is okay to be angry. It is just as okay to be angry as it is to be sad or anxious or happy or whatever. It's just a thing everybody feels. Fucking quit pretending that you don't feel angry. Because everybody does sometimes. And quit implying that someone who is angry is toxic just because they're having a moment. It's just not okay. So, I didn't react. I just sort of took a minute to respond, and I actually reached out to the coaching community and said, hey, my biggest issue is that I'm triggered by people standing me up. The person that's supposed to coach me keeps standing me up. Like, this is awkward. What do I do? How should I respond in this situation? What's a solution? And that community is very supportive, and everybody had like different opinions. In the end, it was resolved. I reached out to the school and they actually assigned me just a different person. And I did eventually have a conversation with the girl that kept standing me up, and we both agreed that she needed someone more flexible than me and I needed someone more reliable than her, because we have to get through this program. Both of us have to get through it. And come mid-October, there's going to be a whole nother round of appointments like piled on top of these ones. Because of all this scheduling bullshit, I'm already behind. So I'm not going to finish. I'm going to finish like by the end of November now, if I do one appointment every week. And the new person hasn't completely gotten back to me yet, so we haven't started that cycle. So I'm eager to get it started. So here's my point about reliability and flexibility. Those things both exist on a continuum. Some people are 99% reliable, some people are 20% 20% reliable. And then flexibility is also on a continuum. I don't think anyone should be expected to be 100% reliable and 100% flexible, because it's just not realistic. And also, if you're 100% flexible, then you're probably allowing people to walk all over you. What really bothers me is how common and socially acceptable it is to be flaky. It's just so common. It's like, oh, I'll flake on you and you'll bail me out, and then you can flake on me someday. But I don't really feel comfortable with that. I feel comfortable being reliable. I feel like both of those things are valuable, reliability and flexibility. But if we all collectively as a society valued reliability a little bit more, then we wouldn't be requiring so much flexibility. Like, it's not okay to just nonchalantly be unplanned, be disorganized, be flaky, and force someone else to deal with it. Like, that is your bullshit. If you're flaky and disorganized, do that on your own time. The moment that you start to make that someone else's problem, it's just not okay, and it's just way too commonly accepted. And I think it's kind of partially like in the workforce. If you have a salary, then you have a certain number of sick days, and that's fine. You can take a mental health day, you can do whatever. We all grow up seeing our parents do this. And maybe you have a parent who, you know they have a certain number of sick days, and they're just kind of cute about it. Like, guess what, kiddo? We're going to take the day off today. Like, you get to skip school and I'm skipping work, and I'm going to tell my boss that I'm sick, and like, ha ha ha, isn't that funny? Isn't that so cute? But if you are in a salaried position, like, the people at the work have to pick up the slack for you, but it's sort of like built in, like it's okay. But in my world, working in the spa, people still do that, but it's not okay because there's not a system to support it. So when spa girls flake, like Sally decided to binge drink on Friday night, and so she's calling sick on Saturday morning, there is no system already there to pick up for her slack. It means that they're calling the massage therapist who is off duty. They're calling someone on their day off to come in, because it's not fair for the massage therapy client to just like miss an appointment. They were excited. They thought they were going to have a massage today, and now suddenly they're not because Jenny decided to binge drink on Friday night. That's just not okay. And it's not okay to ask someone on their day off to, pick up the slack for you when you're just being irresponsible. Like, you're not even trying. It's just not a joke. It's not funny. There are a lot of memes in popular culture like, oh, ha ha, look at me, I'm late again. Like, oh, so funny. Isn't that adorable? No, it's not. It's not adorable. It's not cute. It's not something to just be so nonchalant about. There's like a reasonable margin of emergencies and, last minute things that come up, illness, tires blowing up, a burst appendix. There's like a normal margin of reasonability for emergencies. But the amount of, flaking, canceling, no-shows is way outside of that margin, like way outside, and we all just accept it. And I think it just bothers me more than it bothers other people. I guess some people just like this, I'll flake on you, you flake on me kind of thing. But I really don't see the point. Like, it's just a waste of everybody's time. I'm particularly sensitive to it. Like I said, it is like a sort of PTSD. It literally makes me sick when I get stood up. It's like, not every time, like sometimes I let it roll off my back easier, but this time it just really got me. I was just like, oh, I can't believe this. I was just so disappointed. Anyway, that's my tidal wave, and I wanted to talk about something so much more pleasant and fun and positive, and I really hate it when this happens because it's ugly. It's ugly energy. I'm upset. It's not attractive. But this kind of thing happens to people, and it's an opportunity for me to learn. And I suppose that the lesson is to be direct initially. Even to say like, hey, I know this might sound a little bit defensive, but I have a long history in my career of people standing me up, and I want you to know that I'm sensitive about it. So I want to outline a plan with you. Like, how are we going to handle it if you're late? If you have an emergency, I forgive you, of course. But I need to speak up and be very, very, very clear about it. And I guess not worry if it sounds defensive, because I've just been burned so many times and I need to protect myself from being burned again. Anyway, I did it. This is going to be a bitch to edit. I gotta go. I have an appointment and I am absolutely going to be on time because I'm reliable. So see you next time.